Well, hey, gang, Jim Jacobus. Wanted to first just welcome you to our In the Sales Arena webinar today. And let me kind of get all the stuff going here. This is a really kind of a very special Sales Arena training event. We have been doing this webinar now for, I was talking to my wife last night, I think about 10 years. We've been sharing this with folks in a lot of different formats. And so I'm really excited about our time today and the information we're going to cover. I'd like to first kind of familiarize everybody with the technology that we have available here to us. You will be able to, during our time together, ask questions or share comments with us and everything through the questions box down there at the bottom. So let's do this. Do me a favor, if you will, go down there and in that section, type in where you're listening from today, where you've dialed in from or plugged in from, just so we can, one, test that, and two, I can get an idea where everybody's coming from here. So just type in down there where you are listening from today in that question box in your, I guess what you call your dashboard there for me. So, yep, type that in there. Okay. Houston, Texas. All right. Edmonton, Canada. All right, Claire, that's awesome. How cold is it up there right now? I bet it's chilly in Edmonton. Let's see here. I got some of our folks from the UK here. Right here, Sugarland, Texas. Tom Ferguson. Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? And -3 Celsius. That's cold, Claire. That's really cold. Oh, wow. I got some of our folks in here from down in Australia. I was down there earlier this year and made just a ton of friends down there. So that's kind of cool. Glad you guys are with us. Let's see here. Anybody else? Type in down there in the question section. Let us know where you're kind of dialing in from today, just so you can test that out. Now, during our time together, feel free to ask questions. I will go back to this box from time to time just to check in and see what questions you have there. And that way I'll be able to try to keep up with them all. And sometimes I'll kind of put that off for a little bit and come back to it. So if you have any questions, just type them in down there. Okay. All right. Let me check another piece of the dashboard here. Make sure everything's going the way we want it to. Okay. All right. So again, this is one of my favorite webinars to do, and it's one of my favorite because the content. It's one of my favorite because it is a process that Christy and I use every year, and I'll tell you more about that as we go through. But I will tell you that the folks that take what we're going to share with you today and go do this in some form or fashion, you don't have to do it exactly the way we tell you. I'd encourage you to the first time out, but go and do this. Really, I get a lot of feedback, and Christy and I get a lot of feedback that they get a lot of value out of this. So we're hoping you're going to enjoy that. Now, a couple of things about why we do this. We want 2015 to be your very best year ever. This is done for our In the Sales Arena training folks, if you will, our premium members. But we did open this one up to any and everybody that wanted to share it. So if you're in sales, we want it to be your best sales year ever. If you are in any other form of work or just personally, we want you to have the very best year in 2015 you've ever had yet. So once we get through, everything we do is recorded. Anytime we do an event, we record it. I will take this recording and process it. May get to it this afternoon, may take me a day or so to get to it, but I will then send the link out to everybody that signed up. Certainly you guys are signed up or you wouldn't be here. And we also send out the PowerPoint slides that we're using today as a part of that package. So you'll get that as well in an email from me, more likely sometime tomorrow is when you'll get it. So all of that said, let's go. All right. Now, I love starting things out with a quote. And if you've been in one of my webinars before, you know this is one of my favorite quotes. Or if you've been in one of my face-to-face sales training programs or management programs, you know this is one of my favorite quotes. Eric Hoffer said, "Learners will inherit the earth while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." Learners, which are you guys, those of you who signed up, invested your time, came here today, are listening to this at some time after the webinar, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned, people who feel like they already got it all figured out or don't take the time to learn or grow, will quickly and beautifully find themselves equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists, because things are changing really fast. So I thank you. I appreciate you being here with us today and taking your time out and investing in it. I believe you're going to find out that this is time very well invested today. So let me tell you a little bit about our agenda. I always want to share with you what we're going to do today. First thing is, it's very simple, not going to be too terribly complicated. I don't think this will be a long webinar. We're going to talk about a process that Christy and I have used now for, like I said, I think it's about 10 years. We were talking about it last night. I told her we were doing the webinar today, and we were thinking it's been about 10 years we've been doing this. As a matter of fact, we already have our time scheduled this year to go through the process that I'm sharing with you guys today. This process takes us about 4 days. Now, I don't want to scare you off with that, but it is a lengthy process that Christy and I go through, and we do what I'm going to share with you in depth every year, and it becomes a really important part of our annual planning for the year ahead. So I'm going to share that process with you. What we're going to talk about is 4 questions that we use during that process that I want to encourage you to use and to ask yourselves. And then I'm going to challenge you here at the end of the webinar to go and make that happen. Okay, so that's our agenda. Real simple. I'm going to share a process with you. I'm going to give you 4 questions we use in that process and challenge you to go make it happen. Now, first thing I want to do is start off with a poll. All right, find out a little bit about you guys and kind of how year 2014 went. So I'm going to launch a poll here and give you just about 60 seconds. If you will, go in there and answer that, kind of give me an idea how your year was. It's anonymous. I don't know who clicks off what, so you can click off what you want to. And all right, people are starting to vote here. Okay, everybody's kind of taking middle of the road. Not bad, pretty good. Let's see here. Got a couple more votes. All right, pretty good year. Yeah, bell curve kind of in the middle of everything. All right, a couple more votes coming in. All right, I haven't had anybody yet say it's not very good or 2015 can't get here fast enough. I guess those folks don't have time for a webinar today. Maybe that's the deal. Okay, I'll give you another 10 seconds here to answer. See if we get any more votes in here. Got a lot of folks signed up for the webinar today, so it may take a little while to get it all in, but got about 2 seconds, and I'm going to close the poll there. All right, well, that's actually pretty good news in that everybody kind of was lumped in a pretty good year and not bad. One person said absolutely fantastic. Everybody else was kind of middle. Nobody said not very good, and nobody said 2015 can't get here fast enough. So that's encouraging as we go through our time together today. And I guess I should have supposed that that's the kind of folks that would be on a webinar like this. So here are 4 questions that we're going to ask in 4 ways. Now, let me show you the 4 ways we're going to ask them first. And like I said, Christy and I do this every year. The first way I want you to ask the 4 questions, I want you to ask them of yourself personally. In your personal life, you're going to ask these 4 questions. You're going to ask these 4 questions in your professional life, all right? You're going to ask these 4 questions individually if you're going to do this in a group, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. And then you're going to ask, how did we do collectively? Now, let me tell you how this kind of plays out for Christy and I. The 4 questions I'm going to share with you today, we ask ourselves that in our retreat that we do in our personal lives individually, how these 4 questions that I'm going to share with you. Then we ask these 4 questions about ourselves individually in our personal life, in our professional life. And then we ask the 4 questions of ourselves as a family. In other words, now it's Christy and I, but even when our son Jason was at home with us back when we first started doing this, he would go on the retreats with us. He was in college at the time, and we would sit down and he would be a part of this. So we would ask ourselves individually, both personally and professionally, and then we'd ask ourselves as a family, personally and professionally. Now, a quick little note, if you have somebody like a student, I would say maybe high school age and up, I think this would be a great process to include them in. And what we always did with our son Jason was when we talked to him about what he was doing professionally, his job was to be a great student. That's what we considered his work to be, was to be a great student. And so we would ask him when we talked about professionally to look at it from a student standpoint. Now, I have facilitated this process in groups, management teams, organizations before, where when we talk about collectively, we do it as a family, but they would do it collectively as a team or as an organization or as a management group. So you can use this really any way you want to. You want to ask the questions personally, professionally, individually, and collectively. I hope that sounds clear. Was that? Let me just touch that. Is that clear to everybody? Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions? Do me a favor, just type yes if it made sense, and if it didn't, ask your question. I'll try to answer that. All right. Yes, yes. Clear as mud. Thanks a lot. You guys are crazy. All right. Anybody else? Yes, yes. Okay. Any questions? All right. If we don't have any questions, I'm going to kind of move on here. All right. So let's talk about question number 1. All right. Here's the first question. What worked for you in 2015? In other words, we look back on the year and say, what worked for us last year? What kind of things did we do last year that we really got a lot of what I'm going to call today return on investment for? And then whenever I ask myself that question, why did it work? Now, that's a really important question here, in that knowing that something worked is one thing, but knowing why it worked is another, because if I understand why it was successful, why it brought value to our lives, why it brought a return on investment to us, then it's something I can duplicate. Now, if something really great happened to us and we had nothing to do with it, and I can't even really tell you why it happened, it's impossible for me to duplicate, other than to hope that something good happens to me again. So what worked for you last year, and why did it work? So do me a favor, type in there real quick, what is something in your personal or professional life that worked for you last year, something you did that was successful for you. Type that in the question area there, and let me kind of get a feel for what worked for you guys last year. Okay? It'll take a few minutes to do that. Just type something in there. Let me know what worked for you last year. Now would be a good time to do that. Are you guys out there? Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Invested in your own learning. ABC Tech Group, Claire says. Okay. All right. Okay. Again, invested in myself. Took some risks last year I did not take the years before. Launched my professional speaking career last year. Thank you so much. Attended Jim Jacobus' sales training in Amsterdam last year. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So what worked for you last year? Why did it work? And here's another thing we want to ask ourselves. What did you learn from that? All right. What did you learn from the thing that worked last year? And again, if we learn something from it, we can repeat it. So bottom line is we want to look at what worked for us last year. Let me give you a couple of ideas. I know we have a kind of wide variety of people on the phone here or on the webinar today. Let's say that if you're one of the professional speakers that are on this call that I work with, and you last year did a really good job of speaking to, let's call it the National Automobile Dealers Association. That's a client of mine. You did a really good job of speaking to some local automobile dealers, the State Automobile Dealers Association, and they really liked the program that you did. Now, the way that we take that information and move it into 2015 is to ask myself, why was the program I did for the automobile dealers so successful? And how do I take that and reach out to more automobile dealers, more automobile dealer associations, to the National Association and so on, in order to take the success from last year and turn it into a bigger success this year? All right. Or say you one of the things that somebody wrote down here is you went to sales training. All right. You learned some of them sales training and you were able to apply that, serve your clients better, sell more product, create more margin or profitability, if you will. What was it about that technique that you used that made it successful? And now who else can you use that technique with in order to better serve that client? Okay. Or you might ask yourself, what sales training do I not have that I did not get last year that I could get this year in order to be successful? You with me? Does that make sense? In other words, if I learned how something worked and why it worked, then I can turn around and reapply that to make it work even better and to get more success out of that idea for 2015. So, first question is, what worked for you this year? Why did it work? What did you learn? And how can you do more of that in 2015? Okay. Any questions? All right. Waiting to see any questions here from anybody. Yes, no. Somebody do me a favor. If that made good sense and that was clear to you, just type clear or type yes for me. Let me make sure that everything's coming across here. Make sure you guys are hearing okay. Well, clear. Good deal. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, awesome, guys. Now, let's move on to question number 2. And I call this the big question. If you read any of the marketing stuff that I sent out about this one, I said that this may be the most important question that we ask during this webinar. And the feedback that we get from people says that this is the most important question that we taught them. And I can tell you from our experience, mine and Christy's and our family experience, both personally and professionally, this is the question we can't wait to get to every year. All right. We always do it second, but we can't wait to get to it because there's so much value that comes from asking this question. And the question is this: what did not work so well last year? All right. We had a plan, we executed it, but some things didn't go very well. Some things that we did not bring the return on investment that we wanted. And I'll give you a couple of examples from the past. I won't necessarily talk about last year, but let me give you a couple of ideas from the past for us. One year we sat down and we were doing this, and I had created my notes and I was ready for our retreat, if you will. And one of the things that I noticed in my office was an absolutely gorgeous Fender Stratocaster guitar. It was purple. It had a beautiful amplifier there and a headset that my wife and son bought me so when I practiced they wouldn't have to listen to it. And it was absolutely beautiful. And I love lead guitar players in rock and roll bands. I mean, I just think that is the coolest thing ever. If there was a second life and I got to come back and do anything I wanted to, I'd be a guitar player instead of an athlete. Probably a whole lot better on my knees, but nonetheless, I just love guitar players, and I bought the guitar, and when I would pick it up to play it, probably more often than not, I would have to tune the guitar just to play with it because it sat there so long not being played, it got out of tune from sitting there for so long. So I came to the deal and I said, to our event, and I said, I'm going to do something with the guitar. And my wife said, are you going to get rid of it? And I said, no, I'm going to take guitar lessons. So I wasn't getting a return on investment out of that beautiful guitar that was sitting there. So what I decided to do was to do something differently in order to get a return on investment for that particular item, if you will. Now, it's kind of a small thing, but nonetheless, I wanted to take advantage of it. Well, long story short, I took lessons for about 90 days, realized I'd never do the practicing, and I gave the guitar to a local youth center that teaches creative arts and everything. I gave it away. I could have sold it, probably should have, but nonetheless, I gave it to some people I thought could use it. So I wasn't getting a return on investment out of that was large enough for me to keep it, and so I decided to do something differently. I gave it a go, found out it wasn't going to work, and then I eliminated that from my life, both by doing something differently and then eventually getting rid of it. Now, let me take you to a much larger example of that, something that wasn't working for us that we decided to do 1 year after our retreat, if you will. In 90 days, my wife and I sold a piece of property that we had that was on the coast down in Rockport, Texas. We sold the boat that we had down in Rockport, Texas, and I sold my Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Now, in 90 days, we jettisoned all of that stuff because we made a decision that we wanted to live our lives with as little debt as possible. And today I can tell you that we're very fortunate. The only debt that we have particularly focused is on the mortgage. That's really all we have. Everything else we pay off on a regular basis. That's the only debt we have. And I'm going to tell you, it's one of the best decisions we ever made in our lives. It was really difficult, but there was about $4,000 a month in committed cash flow that we got rid of in one fell swoop. Now, was it easy? No. Was it a great decision? Yes. All right. So not only did we decide to do something differently, we decided to stop doing something altogether. Okay. One of the things I've done here recently is I've stopped watching so much TV. Christy watches very little TV. I watch almost no TV. Unless it's a Rockets game or a Texans game, I don't watch very much TV anymore. That is time that I use to do blogging and writing and preparing for content that we push out. So by asking ourselves the questions, what's not working so well, or what are we not getting a good return on investment out of? Now, that could be a return on investment for time or money or energy or attention or stress or anything. Either do it differently or get rid of it altogether creates margin in our life, creates opportunity for us to do things we want to do. And that's what the next couple of questions are about. So it frees up time, it frees up energy, it frees up attention, it frees up focus and things like that in order to become more focused on the things that we really want to accomplish in the year ahead. So quick question. What's something that you may not be getting value out of right now that perhaps you might want to reassess in 2015 or get rid of altogether? Share with me some ideas maybe we kicked off there for you of something that you might want to rethink or you might not want to do anymore or you might want to get rid of altogether. Give me some ideas there. Let me see what you guys have here that you can share with us. Okay, give you a few seconds to type stuff in there. What is something that you feel like maybe you could get rid of this year or something that you could benefit from carving out of your life? Let me see what you guys have. Come on. All right. Okay, I could spend less time watching TV. Absolutely. Okay. I could spend, actually, that's very good. I could spend less time fixing to and more time actually doing. Oh, Laura, you're going to get on all of us. Limiting time on social media. Yeah. All right. And again, social media is awesome. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever you happen to use, that stuff's awesome. But yeah, it can be absolutely a time waster. Absolutely. Good deal. All right. Create some boundaries around that. This is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to do it. Make sure you don't carve into any of your real productive time. That's awesome. Somebody else typed in limit my time on social media. Okay. Somebody got real specific. Limit time on Facebook. Okay. I didn't think my wife was on this webinar. Maybe she's channeling through somebody else. Anybody else want to offer something up? Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Good deal. First thing is, thank you for patronizing. I hope that's actually what you meant. One of the folks that that's on the webinar today that was in the sales training program we did for Axel Nobel last year, limit time wasted on customers that don't deserve our expertise. That is awesome, Philip. Absolutely. Can't tell you how much I like reading that and hearing that. Really investing time in clients that deserve your expertise. That is excellent. Okay, anybody else? All right, cool. All right, I don't want to belabor it, but bottom line is really sit down and be ruthless with ourselves about what am I doing right now that I don't get the kind of value out of that I should? What can I do to get the value out of it, or how do I get rid of it altogether? All right, tough question there, but I think if you'll be really tough on yourself with this one, you'll carve out a lot of margin in your life, a lot of margin in your business. That'll help you be more successful in 2015. Now, question number 3. All right, what do I want to do that's new? Okay, what do I want to try that's new? My wife and I always do this every year. And again, it's professionally, what do we want to do that's new? What do we want to try? What do we want to begin or learn or start? Last year, we, as a couple, we decided we wanted to take dance lessons. All right, that came out of our retreat last year. We wanted to take dance lessons, and so we did, and we had a blast doing it. But obviously, there were some business things that we wanted to do as well. For me, there were a number of things that would actually fall into this question and the next one They were very, very focused, very, very intentional. We wanted to write the book that I've been trying to write for a number of years. Actually, quite frankly, my son asked us. He's married, lives in Dallas now, Fort Worth area, and he said during the retreat, if you don't put "get the book done" on your list, he said, I'm going to disown you as my father. I have been talking about writing a book titled From Order Taker to Gladiator, How Top Salespeople Consistently Win the Sales Wars for about 7 or 8 years. And so that became something that we were going to get done this year that was going to be new. We were going to make that happen. We also made happen our www.salesgladiators.com in the sales arena membership-based sales training program that launched in October. That was on our list last year. I can tell you that we've got some good things on the list this year. But what do you want to do that's new? What do you want to try? Do you want to take cooking classes? Do you need to learn more about content marketing? Do you need to learn more about Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook? What do you want to do new this year? What do you want to begin? What do you want to start? What do you want to learn? So do me a favor. Type in something there that you feel like you really want to learn this year, or that you want to do that's new, or that you want to begin that you have not done in the past. Something that would either enhance your life personally or perhaps might enhance your life professionally. Type that in the question section down there and let me see what you have. Okay. All right. I would take dance lessons if I had a partner. Okay, well, maybe what you want to do new this year is to find that partner that you're looking for, and you can take dance lessons that way. What is something you guys want to do new this year? Type that down in the question section. Let me see what you have in mind here. What do you want to begin? What do you want to start? What do you want to learn? What do you want to do that's new this year? Okay, more sales training. Good. Thank you. Join the salesgladiators.com. I think you just did that. Didn't you do that yesterday? Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you were brand new yesterday. You joined. And for those who don't, we have a membership site that helps people improve their sales training skills for everybody. It's called the salesgladiators.com, $14.95 a month. That's about the biggest commercial you're going to get out of me for that. I try to keep these focused on our content here. So anything else that you have that you want to do new? Okay. All right. Good stuff, guys. Very good. All right. So that's question number 3. What do you want to do that's new this year? What do you want to begin, start, or learn? And then this is a question that can really be, again, a game changer for us. And that's the question, what do you want to do that's big? What do you want to do that's big this year? And again, what challenges you? What is it, something you've dreamed of doing? Is it writing that book? Is it launching that business? Is it speaking for a specific group you've always dreamed of speaking of? What would have a major impact on your career and life this year that you could do in 2015 that would be a game changer? And again, all through the years, it's always been something. For us last year, it was the book, the website, and a couple of other things that we wanted to do that were big. What I will tell you that I can already assure you that will go on our list for 2015 for us is everything that we're doing on the sales side with the salesgladiators.com. My wife and I are going to do on the marriage side of our business. We do a lot of marriage conferences and everything. We're going to create a subscription site for people who want to grow their marriages, grow their relationships and everything. That will be our major thing for this year. But what is it that you've dreamed of? What is it that you really have always wanted to do that would be a big thing that you'd like to launch in 2015? Do me a favor. Type in there, what would be something big that you'd like to do in 2015? Again, nobody knows who typed this but me, and I'll keep your name private if you'll share that with us. But it's something about saying, I want to do this thing. This is something that really matters to me. I remember when I started my speaking career 22 years ago. That was a huge thing that we decided to do early on one year. And man, it was scary as heck. But nonetheless, here we are 22 years later, and can't tell you how blessed and fortunate we are to have made that decision. So what is something that you want to do that's huge in 2015? Type that in there for me real quick. Okay. Oh, write the book. There you go. All right, write a second book. There you go. Really launch my speaking career for real. Awesome. What else, guys? Now there's a couple of reach 100,000 teenagers. Let me click on read that whole thing there. Reach 100,000 teenagers with our program based on Jeremiah 29:11 and with social media as well. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up whenever I get through here. Thanks for sharing that. That is a big goal right there. 100,000 teenagers. Awesome. Yep. One new 5-figure contract. That's going to happen, buddy. I can tell you right now, that's going to happen. You're doing all the work necessary to get there. That's going to take place. Anybody else? Something you want to put down here you want to do this year? I want to speak to an audience of at least 1,000 people this year. Okay, that can happen. Not a problem. I want 30 paid speaking engagements this year. Awesome. Awesome. There you go. One of my buddies from over in the UK there, over in Europe, that was in a sales training program last year. I will not be happy unless I am the #1 sales rep in Europe this year. I know you, my man. Unless somebody else has a great year, you're going to make that happen. Okay, cool. That's what I'm talking about. We've got to have this idea or this vision of something that is huge or big out there that really fuels our energy toward making 2015 something that's extraordinary. So cool. Those are awesome ideas. I'm going to have to look that up later on. Right there. Let me make a note here. All right. So once we've done all of that work, and again, let me kind of give you this picture. My wife and I go somewhere where there's not a whole lot to do. We've got to be a little bit to do so we can get away. We take a whiteboard, flip charts and everything. We go through and we ask all 4 of these questions. All right. What's working and how do we do more of it? What's not working? How do I get rid of it or make it work? What do I want to do that's new and want to do that's big? We ask ourselves that personally. In other words, Christy, we'll ask her that personally. We'll make notes. We'll ask that of her professionally. Okay. We'll ask those 4 questions of me personally in my personal life. We'll ask those 4 questions of me professionally in my professional life. And we're flip charting and we're taking notes and we're holding each other accountable for all of those questions. She's offering up advice, what's not working. I don't think this is working for you. I don't think that's working for you. I think that is working well. I think you ought to do more of that. We're doing that. And then we talk about it as a couple, as a family. What are those 4 things as well? And then we have all of these notes that we've taken. And as you can imagine, we have tons and tons of action items. So from there's really something very simple. All right. We make a list of all the things that we made a commitment to do. And it goes into 2 primary categories. Now, quick little side note here. I did a webinar a while back, talked about how to get the most out of a conference. And I go to the National Speakers Association conferences every year. I go to a number of different learning conferences. Christy and I go to the American Association of Christian Counselors conference every other year. We're always involved in these learning situations. And I carry a notebook with me that has basically these same 2 pages in the notebook. All right. Now I do it in Evernote, but in the past I would write them down. And I have a page in Evernote that says easy to do. It would be something I could knock out in 5 or 10 minutes. Wouldn't take a lot of hard work. Okay. Something very simple. Sell the guitar. Okay. No big deal. Get rid of the guitar. Sign up for lessons. Really easy to do. Sign up for dance lessons. Not hard to do. So there's a whole list of stuff that's easy to do. You can knock out right away. Then there's a list of things that we call major impact items. For us in the past, that have been things like sell the house, sell the boat, sell the car, the motorcycle. All right. It would be things like launch a subscription site for sales training, write the book. Those are the kinds of things that would be major impact that then require some planning. Okay. So I've got 2 lists, easy to do. We knock those out right away, get a lot of benefit, a lot of quick wins, a lot of low hanging fruit. And then we have the major impact items that we have to create a plan for. and what is the plan? What is our schedule? We kind of map that out, do a number of things that you do if you're doing project management, but we create a plan for all of that. Okay, so that's how we go through those 4 questions, ask them 4 different ways, glean out of that some things we want to do differently in the year ahead, and then create a plan for it. Now, time for you guys. Well, let's do this real quick. I think I've got another poll in here. Yeah, let me launch this poll real quick to give an idea. How do you think 2015 is going to be for you? Okay, let me give you about 60 seconds to answer that. How do you feel about the year ahead? And then we'll do some Q&A, and we'll get you guys off of the webinar here. How do you feel about the year ahead? Just take a moment to click down. All right. Cool. Now we're getting the answers all at the top. I believe it could be my best year ever. I'm thinking it'll be better than 2014. Awesome. You guys all said 2014 was pretty good. Okay, how many more? Let's see here, a couple more. Man, I'm loving this. Everything's at the top of the list. Okay, everybody's clicking off. I believe it could be my best year ever, or I'm thinking it will be better than. Oh, okay, there's one. 2015 scares me to death. Okay, I know you, man. You guys are going through a lot of change. I get it. Okay. All right. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, closing that poll. Good deal. One exception. One person said 2015 scares me to death. I know their organization is going through a lot of change and a lot of real big uncertainty there. I get that. Everybody else typed in, I believe it could be my best year ever, or I'm thinking it'll be better than 2014. That's encouraging. All right, so here we are. Questions. What questions do you have about what we've talked about so far? Just type them in the question section down there. Let me answer any of the specific questions that you have about the process that we just talked about. Okay. I need to find a little noise maker for that while you guys are typing, or I hope you're typing. What questions do you have about what we've talked about so far? Any questions about the process? Any questions about the questions? Nobody has a question. Are you serious? Come on, man, give me something tough. Give me a hard one. The harder the questions, the better as far as I'm concerned. Somebody make up a question, right? Okay. Well, I guess that is as clear as it can be because nobody has any questions. All right. Well, let me move on here real quick. Since we have no questions to answer, I guess that all made good sense. Let me share with you a little bit about what we have ahead in 2015. First thing is the In the Sales Arena. For those of you guys who are premium members, this is the first time I've made this announcement. In the past, we've done one of these sales training webinars a month. We are taking that up to 2. If you're a premium member and you signed on because you wanted to get those sales training webinars, well, we're doubling that. You'll be getting 2 sales training webinars every month. That's what we're going to be doing in 2015. And it wasn't because that people weren't getting value out of what we were doing. It's that we weren't with you often enough. So you'll get 2 of those every month instead of 1. We'll continue the one no holds barred Q&A coaching session every month. We also continue with the Sales Gladiator interviews, and those have been really cool. Got a lot of great feedback on those. If you haven't checked them out, I really encourage you, if you're one of our premium members, to go listen to those. There's stuff in every one of those that I went, oh my gosh, that's really good stuff. So I learned from every one of those. And then we'll be doing the In the Sales Arena podcast that come out on Thursdays every week. And we'll be doing all kinds of other awesome, really cool special events on a kind of as we come across some kind of a basis. So that's what we have in store for 2015. If you will allow me to ask you one more question, I've got another poll for you. I'd really appreciate your feedback on this, particularly those of you who are part of our premium package or you're one of our sales training members. What sales training webinars would you like us to do this year? Now, you can click off one or more of those if you want to. Would you like for us to do a lot of sales training webinars on the sales process, planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, presenting, influencing, follow-up, and closing? Would you like to learn more about selling value versus price? More about intentionally building high return on investment relationships? Or would you like more focus on mindset, attitude, and things like that? Okay, nobody's clicking off the sales process. I'm not surprised by that, but I will tell you this: mastering the sales process is a huge key to being extraordinary. Because inside that sales process are things like handling objections, the price is too high, how do you close more effectively, how do you qualify more effectively. There you go, at least one person clicked it off. I guess I shamed you guys into doing it. Okay, I'll give you about 10 more seconds, and then I'm going to close that out just to get an idea of what would work for you. Sounds like you guys really would like more of that learning self-value versus price. That sounds good because we can do that for you. Okay, cool, guys. Let me close that. Thanks for your feedback there. That'll help us as we plan the year ahead. Let me just say thank you. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for taking your time out. As Hopper said, learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. I hope we brought you value today. I certainly know that this has been tremendously valuable to us in the past, to clients in the past, and to people that have taken this and done something with it. So I really encourage you to go do that. I will take this recording and I will post it so that you can have access to it and review it if you want to sit down and use this as a way to kind of drive you through doing this retreat yourself or doing this kind of work yourself. Then you're more than welcome to do that. I will share with you the slides as well. Thanks so much for being with us today. If nobody has any questions, then I'm going to sign off. Thanks for joining us for this In the Sales Arena webinar. If you have any questions, you can email me, jim@thesalesgladiators.com. You're also welcome to call us at 281-937-9911. Once I get this produced, once I get it ready, I will send you an email with a link to a web page that has all of this information for you. So thanks a lot. You guys have a great year in 2015. We're looking forward to being right there with you and helping in any way we can. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care.